We are now at day 37. Aaron Rodgers is still not a New York Jet. And after yesterday's moves, of course, Jet fans going crazy thinking that the acquisition of that extra second-round draft pick is for the Packers. At some point, I don't, because I don't think it gets done before the draft. But here's where we're at now. And I think we're making a big mistake from a Jet perspective. And we're all guilty of it because we're New Yorkers. We live here. We care about the Jets more than we care about everybody else. And we just make this assumption, some of us, that, the Jets are going to get Odell. The Jets are going to get this guy or that guy. And I take a second and I look back and I go, yeah, Aaron Rodgers coming here is great and all. And we have a little window to maybe make a run. I don't even deny that. But there are 31 other teams. And even if you eliminate the 10 teams that suck and the 5 teams that may not even need another receiver, why do we just assume that a team that has a history of not getting things done is now going to get everything done?
Well,
does that make sense?
All, it does, but I think what you're forgetting about both guys, and this is the cold, hard reality, and I don't mind it because it benefits the Jets, there's not that much interest in both guys. Odell Beckham Jr. hasn't been that good in a half a decade. Can we remind ourselves that? He really hasn't. He has not been Odell Beckham Jr. that we knew, that we grew to love here in New York in a long time. Odell Beckham Jr. is not this hot commodity like he thinks he is. So Odell's not going to have as many choices as he thinks.
Well, to be fair,
he's not.
Over a dozen teams went to his workout.
That means nothing.
I mean something.
A dozen teams went to watch Zach Britton throw a bullpen session. Does that mean teams are falling all over themselves to sign Odell?
I mean, that's different sport, different thing, not fair comparison.
No, but you're talking about a workout, and what I'm telling you is that I don't think, based on the actions of teams over the last couple of years, that there's this huge market for him. And the reality is he hasn't been a great player in about 6 years.
He's the best self-promoter of all time in the NFL. I've never seen anything like it.
You're spot on, and he does a brilliant job of that. Now, am I against the Jets signing Odell Beckham Jr.? No. But I think we need to be real about who he is coming off a major injury. He's a number 3 receiver. That's all he is.
I would disagree with you on that. I don't know if he's the number 1 anymore. I can't back that up, obviously, that he is, because he spent the last year nursing recovering from the ACL. So I wouldn't be foolish enough to say, lock him in, he's the number 1. I don't know. My gut is that he's better than 3, not
Craig,
as good as 1.
He hasn't been a Pro Bowl receiver in 7 years. Can we understand that? He is so much flash and dash and very little substance. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't bring him in on an affordable deal, but teams are not falling all over themselves because they're going to sign Jerry Rice. Odell Beckham Jr. He's 30 years old. He's coming off a major injury. He hasn't been elite in 7 years. So let's all take a deep breath. I'm not against it. Bring him in. Aaron wants him. Yeah. Aaron gets what he wants, Craig. Bring him in.
Well, it seems
but let's not act like, oh, my God, they're getting the second coming here.
No, I think they get an upgrade, but there's also an aspect of them trading Elijah Moore. I've convinced myself doesn't make sense. Giving up on a young receiver who showed the ability at least 2 years ago and less last year because of a lot of reasons. Zach Wilson, for one, at quarterback. Obviously the emotional and the immaturity, too, last year. And I'm looking at it and saying, yes, Lazard, great. Good to have him. Aaron Rodgers has a 5-year span with him. Money good. I'm down with it. I think it's a very good move. Even if Aaron Rodgers isn't here, you get a 27-year-old, 6'5" legitimate wide receiver. That's an upgrade. I'm with you. But I'm trying to convince myself that trading a 3rd-round pick and Elijah Moore for a 2nd-round pick makes sense.
Okay, so here's what
I'll be honest, I'm just struggling with that.
I'm going to give you my reasoning, or at least what I think my reasoning is, because I'm not in the locker room. I think this is very similar to Kadarius Toney, where the Giants said, look, guy's got a lot of talent. It's not going to work here. There were various things that led them to believe, we don't love the kid. We don't think he's going to work hard here. We're going to send him somewhere else. Elijah Moore was mother bleeping LaFleur all day.
Yep.
And even though LaFleur isn't here anymore, that's not good. It's not good when a second-year player is storming off the practice field, demanding more touches, cursing everybody out, and forcing the organization to send them home. That's not a good sign. And we could argue, but Aaron Rodgers is going to be here. There's a different coaching staff, not head coach, but offensive coordinator.
Right.
It's all going to work out. I think the Jets made a determination. You know what? We don't want to deal with this. That problem from a year ago will reemerge itself at some point. So let's move on. Let's get as much as we can get back. And essentially trading a 3 for a 2 value-wise, is like adding a third-round pick. That's the value of it.
Yeah, listen.
And for a guy who was drafted in the second round,
Yeah.
who demanded a trade less than a year ago, you could argue, hey, that's not the worst return, considering they were just ready to move on the way the Giants were with Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, listen, it's a fair comparison. I'm right or wrong, it's a fair comparison. I'm with you on that. It just seems like you're telling me that it's Aaron Rodgers behind it. I got to suck that up because if you get Rodgers,
no.
It'd be silly to me if that's a Rodgers move. Though.
I don't think it's a Rodgers thing. What I've reevaluated this is that I think the Jets are pissed at him. I think the Jets watched the kid in his second.
You make emotional decisions and it doesn't benefit you.
Well, maybe they don't feel the weeks after that he did anything to make them think he's different.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he didn't.
And I think Elijah Moore and Kadarius Toney are similar in this way, and we all have to brace for this. I think he's going to be good. I think Kadarius Toney is good. I think Elijah Moore is going to be good.
That's the genesis of me saying it. Like we talked, because when I went home yesterday, we talked about it very late in the show, and I threw out random numbers to you, but I mean, with DeSean Watson and Amari Cooper there, obviously in Cleveland, I think it's possible that you're going to look at a guy that's going to have more than 70 catches, 1,000+ yards, 8, 9 touchdowns.
Yes.
And we're going to look back and go, gosh darn it.
Well,
we gave that guy up for what? Now, if the second-round pick that they get becomes a rock star, great.
Are Giant fans going to say that about Toney, or have they admitted, you know what, it wasn't going to work here?
I think the fact that Kadarius Toney barely played for Kansas City probably eased it a little bit.
I mean, he made a big play in the Super Bowl.
I know he did, but he barely played in the regular season.
Right, no, you're right. He
couldn't get on the field.
He didn't put up massive numbers. And I know it's not completely the same, but it's similar in that I think here are two really talented young wide receivers. And behind the scenes, I think the coaching staff and the front office both determined, they're talented. They'll be good elsewhere. It ain't going to work here. So let's cut our losses, let's get a pick, and let's move on. But I want to prepare Jet fans, just like I think we said this about the Giants too with Toney.
Yep.
I think these guys are going to be good. And we just have to realize that these two organizations both decided early on in these guys' careers, it ain't working here, let's get out.
Now, I told you something, it's got to be a couple weeks ago. And I kind of said it somewhat, I made a flippant comment on the show a couple weeks ago about a certain former New York Jet wide receiver. Do you remember what I said about Braxton Berrios? Do you have any? Does it ring a bell at all?
Not at all.
Do either of you guys remember something that I said? And I'll be honest, we didn't spend a lot of time on it. But when Braxton Berrios got cut by the Jets and went to Miami, I made a comment about Braxton Berrios that, again, was somewhat flippant and was kind of an off-the-cuff quick thing, and we went to break. Do any of you recall what that comment was?
Was it that if in Miami he won't drop a game-winning touchdown like he did against the Vikings this year?
No, but that's come up. Come up. Tommy, you got something?
Yeah, you said he'd be looking for a new girlfriend.
I did, didn't I?
Yep.
Oh, you did
I
say
did,
that. Yeah.
I told you that now that his career is in question, although he's still in the NFL, I guarantee you that he's dating one of the Colpo
Sophia
girls.
Colpo.
Sophia Colpo is going to move on to a guy that's got a better deal and a better contract and a better career path in the NFL.
Did she?
Guess what happened today?
She broke up with Braxton Berrios?
She broke up with Braxton Berrios.
Did she announce who she's moving on to?
No, but I guarantee he's got a 5-year guaranteed contract. Yes, and she's going to be in love. And it probably with Christian McCaffrey's best friend, Brandon Ayuk, or somebody
Is
like
she waiting
that.
to see the contract Odell gets and saying, oh, okay.
Oh, possibly.
That's not
possibly. That was so predictable. I feel so good about myself that my prediction skills haven't lost me yet.
Shouldn't she have waited a little bit longer to make it less obvious? Like, I don't know. Wait till mini camps or something?
No, you got to go with the Kardashian rule. Get it now while you can.
I'm done.
At some point, she ain't going to look so good, and then she's going to be begging Braxton Berrios to date her, right? And then there's a Mets story today that, frankly, is a little concerning to me. Now,
which one? Because I got a few things that piss me off about this team.
Well, as you know,
right now.
I've got a great relationship with the Mets and Steve Cohen on the executive staff there. One of my best friends is on the board. And I got the little tidbit that I can't get to work here in the studio. Not their fault, ours.
What a shame.
Yeah, it really sucks because I was really happy about it.
Yeah.
But I have to take it home, I guess, for the kids. But, something happened today, Evan.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of things that happened today. One of which is Met and Yankee related, one that's just Met related. Mm-hmm. So if you allow me to give you the Met thing first, because I think the Met-Yankee thing that you and I were talking about in my office a little bit ago is a worthy topic for a little bit later on at length, okay? The New York Mets, as you know, at Citi Field, have what amounts to like a museum of sorts.
They have a Mets Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but it's like look at the jersey.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's a Mets Hall of Fame. It's a museum. Very well done. Very beautiful. It's got the plaques of people that are in the Mets Hall of Fame, just like Cooperstown.
Yeah, it's right over by the Jackie Robinson Rotunda.
Yeah, you make a right when you walk in, and it's this beautiful museum.
Yeah, so they've got this museum, a.k.a. the New York Met Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Yeah, right? They announced today a new entry into the New York Mets Hall of Fame.
Besides Howie Rose?
I didn't even know that
And
Howie
Gary
Rose was
Cohen?
getting in. I guess they're in too.
Well,
Congratulations
Howie's
to
going
them.
to the Mets Hall of Fame this year,
Great.
right?
Well-deserved Howie Rose, a New York Met Hall of Famer. They announced today that there is something else being added to the Met Hall of Fame this year.
Like a player?
Well, no, actually, not a player.
One of my scorecards.
No.
They didn't even ask me.
By the way, no, not even one of the soon-to-be published Evan Roberts scorecards. No, it is not. And this is where the Mets embarrass themselves. And I'm saying that respectfully because I like the Met front office.
Am I going to agree with you?
I like Steve Cohen.
You think I'm going to argue with you?
I think you're going to be with me in lockstep.
You think
on
I'm going
this.
to be with you? Okay.
I think you're even going to say, Craig, you're not being a hater. You're being real.
All right.
It's a problem.
Okay.
The New York Mets announced today that they have now officially put into their Hall of Fame for all of you to see the narco trumpet.
The trumpet?
Timmy the trumpet.
Like the actual trumpet?
The trumpet.
So the trumpet?
The trumpet.
So the thing you blow on that makes sounds?
The trumpet is going into the Met Hall of Fame. Now, did they win a World Series with a classic Game 7 save
No.
that you had 50,000 people going bonkers for in person and another million watching on TV? No, it didn't. No.
We won a playoff game.
No. Is Diaz pitching at all this year where you're going to hear the trumpet? Unfortunately not because of the injury in the WBC, right? But the New York Mets feel like Met fans fell in love so greatly with that dumb trumpet that I'm not making this up, they have put the trumpet into the Hall of Fame, meaning Ron Swoboda, okay?
Right.
Tom Seaver, Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, Davey Johnson, Game 6, whatever else is in there, and the trumpet. Your thoughts?
I don't have an issue with it. I don't mind the trumpet.
Oh, come on.
I really don't. I mean, I don't blame Edwin Diaz. Like, if Edwin Diaz had blown a playoff game, I think I'd agree with you.
The trumpet.
Yeah, well, the trumpet was fun last year. I got no issue with the trumpet. The trumpet was fun.
It's in the Hall of Fame, Evan.
You're displaying it. We all get to look at it. We say, ooh, Timmy Trumpet blew on this during the Met-Dodgers series in late August, early September.
How many playoff games did you win with the trumpet? How many World Series did you win with the trumpet? What are we doing?
Here's the problem I have with
Is Dave Kingman in the Hall of Fame?
No. Dave Kingman.
Right.
You comparing Dave Kingman to the trumpet?
You're damn right
Dave Kingman struck out a lot.
For a short period of time, Dave Kingman was the biggest draw they had.
The Mets won 101 games last year. Yeah. And while it flamed out much earlier than we thought, I'll give you a big guy who had nothing to do with the flame out. And that guy's Edwin Diaz.
32 out of 35.
So if the Mets had blown a game in Atlanta during that final weekend, if the Mets had blown a game against the Padres during the wild card series, I'd probably be with you.
Yeah.
But I got no issue with the trumpet. The trumpet's fine. Display the freaking trumpet. Can we play the trumpet? Do each of us get a turn to blow on it and play the Timmy trumpet?
And not only that, you're not going to hear the trumpet at all this year because Diaz is out.
Opening day.
Yeah, no, you'll get opening day. He's out.
No, you're wrong.
Unless he's introduced.
Yeah, they'll introduce him.
I don't know if Diaz is allowed to even be introduced.
They'll wheelchair him out there.
I'm not sure if Diaz will even be here for the opening game.
It'll be like Ruben Tejada before Game 3 when he was on the crutch.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, everybody.
Anyhow, the New York Mets, sometimes they met themselves.
That doesn't bother me. That really doesn't.
It's not that it's going to bother you. It's like, come on, guys. Like, can we win something first? Can we go to a World Series?
But the problem is, here's my disagreement with you guys. And I'm sure there's other Met fans like Loogie. I'm sure he'll whine about it. I'm sure he'll scream about it on the Bridge Show. So I know that I may be alone on this. I don't have any anger towards the trumpet. The Met failures of last year have more to do with Max Scherzer and their bats going limp than a trumpet. So when I think back to 2022 and the good, I think of the trumpet. I think of good. Like, that's one of the good memories of last year. So I got no problem with us displaying that. That's fine.
I just have one question for you.
Go ahead.
Are you going to allow Contreras to come get it before he tries to close
That's
out a
not
game
funny. That's not
for
funny.
Atlanta this year?
That's not funny.
Well, I mean, it's his too, isn't it?
No, first of
so
all,
does Contreras get a key to the door so he can go into the Hall of Fame and get the
first of all,
trumpet?
William Contreras is not, I repeat, not Edwin Diaz. And I got good news.
Yeah.
He's not on the Braves anymore.
Oh, shoot. I thought I had that
He got
right.
traded to the Brewers.
All right, look, we got lots to do. My boys from Fallout Boy are in town, so Pete and Andy are stopping by. We'll say hi to them. There is a Met-Yankee thing that came out in Forbes magazine, which is really fascinating. They basically did a report. Al Dukes is going to love this, of how many people actually watch on average on regional sports networks baseball games. Like how many people on average turn on the Mets on SNY? How many people on average turn on the Yankees on Yes? How many people on average turn on the Red Sox at Nesson? And on and on and on. And when you see how many people are actually watching on a regular random, Thursday afternoon or evening on a regional sports network, I think you'll be frankly surprised when you compare that to the amount of money the networks bring in. Now, famously, you've heard all the Bally sports networks, like 50 of them, have gone kaput. Mm-hmm. They're gone.
Yep.
So Major League Baseball is now trying to figure out how to offer all those games on some type of stream. It's not a healthy business, but if you had to take a guess, you know the number. But if you're listening right now, and we'll give it to you after the break, how many people do you think on average watch the New York Mets, the New York Yankees, just take the top 5 or 6 market teams on average? It is nowhere close to what you think it is.